Greetings. It is a cold, rainy winter day, and I just finished enjoying a latte and cheesecake for breakfast. And I also just turned 35 years old, or young, depending on how you look at it. And, while I was eating my cheesecake and drinking my latte, I was, pondering life. And health is really important to me, which is part of why I am, relatively speaking, healthy. And now that I'm mid 30s now, 35, pretty much everyone I know is struggling with staying fit, with being healthy. And honestly, even in my 20s, a lot of people were struggling with being fit and being healthy. And it's a rainy winter day, and I had cheesecake for breakfast. But honestly, it's not just because it's a special event or a special day or a rainy cold day. I have cheesecake or something of that nature for breakfast or even for dinner, on somewhat of a regular basis, actually. And I even posted on Valentine's where I was having chocolate cake and red wine for dinner. And I'm still got like 3% body fat. I'm still able to climb up a tree. I'm able to keep a high level of fitness, a high level of health without even really trying that hard. I don't have a diet. I don't work out. So I'm not doing the classic things that most people would consider sort of essential or important for health. And so I wanted to take this time to share some tips with you all, because health is really important to me. And what I've found is that all of life is better when we're healthy. I could go on and on and on about how much more enjoyable life is when you're healthy. And it's just becoming more and more rare these days because of the lifestyle that people are living. And I've actually written a book called Full Spectrum Health. You can get that online if you're interested. So there's a lot of facets. There's a lot of factors to health. Anyone that says this diet or whatever is going to make you healthy, is probably just trying to sell you some get rich quick sort of scam. It's kind of like building your own business. There's all sorts of techniques for building your own business, but honestly, it's a full spectrum reality. There's many facets that go into it. So I could talk for days about all these different aspects of health, but I just wanted to share a few of the really just sort of basic, super basic, readily available tips that anyone can utilize. It doesn't cost money, doesn't really require that you change your lifestyle per se. So number one, honestly, is that you have to enjoy yourself. You have to enjoy life. And this, particularly in this circumstance, applies to food. So many people, I just see them, like getting fat before they even eat what they're eating, because I can see in their own mind, or they even proclaim, or, oh, I know this is going to make me fat, but I'm going to eat it anyways. And so people got all this shame, all this guilt, and all these beliefs, that if they eat a piece of cheesecake, especially for breakfast, that they're going to get fat. And they'll say something like, oh, I'm going to eat this, but I'm going to have to run an extra mile tomorrow, or something like that. I haven't gone to a gym in 16, 17 years. So it's really more of a mindset than anything else. You gotta enjoy yourself. You gotta enjoy life. You gotta love yourself. You gotta respect yourself. You gotta believe in yourself. With that being said, moderation is also the next thing. It's like, again, I like to drink beer, I like to drink wine, I like to eat cheesecake, but realistically, I don't eat cheesecake for breakfast every day. I don't eat it for dinner every single night. I do it whenever I want to, but I don't necessarily want to every single day, because moderation is key. I want to be healthy, and I've learned to find the balance within my own self and my own life. What is too much and what's So moderation, is key. Whether that's drinking or anything you do, you know, moderation is key. It's okay to, you know, have some drinks. It's okay to drink coffee. It's okay to eat cheesecake. You know, moderation is key. Next is hydration. Hydration is super critical, especially if you're drinking alcohol, especially if you're drinking coffee, because they dehydrate your body at a cellular level. So it's really important that you have hydration. In order to be hydrated, you know, you need to, you know, be drinking high quality water. You know, bottled water is really not healthy. Tap water is poisonous. And even just plain filtered water is just really not going to cut it. You need some kind of activated, you know, structured living water. And I've actually written articles about that before. Garden of Eden has written articles about that before, and you know, it's somewhat of a big topic in and of itself. But you need high quality water. Also, raw foods, raw fruits, raw vegetables are really good for hydration. So, you know, for example, this morning before I had, you know, coffee and cheesecake for breakfast, you know, I hydrated. You know, I had a glass of water, had some fresh squeezed orange juice. You know, it was about 30 minutes to an hour before I had my coffee, before I had my cheesecake. You know, I was hydrating. Also, before I go to bed, you know, I have some water, and I have water, you know, by my bed where I can drink it, you know, when I wake up at night. And also, you know, going to bed, you know, more on an empty stomach versus a full stomach is another really great thing. You know, if you eat a huge meal and then you go to bed, you don't have really any time to hydrate while you're sleeping. So if you give yourself some time before you go to sleep, you know, to digest your food, and you know, hydrate a little bit before you go to sleep, you're going to wake up a lot more hydrated. So if you're going to drink coffee, I really don't recommend just waking up immediately and drinking coffee. And a lot of people are doing that. They're waking up immediately and they're having a cup of coffee before they even get hydrated. Same thing if you're drinking alcohol at night. You know, to drink alcohol until you pass out or until you go to sleep, you're going to be leaving your body super dehydrated. It's wise to, you know, take some time before you go to sleep to rehydrate. Next thing is like sort of intermittent, you know, fasting. You know, I'm a big fan of like multi-day fasting, which I find to be extremely healthy, extremely beneficial, but for most people it's, you know, a little difficult. So when I say intermittent fasting, what I mean more is like, you know, you really need at least 12 hours where you're not consuming food, which includes coffee, you know, which includes alcohol. And ideally it could be even more than that. For me, I generally speaking, you know, eat 1, maybe 2 meals a day. So today, you know, I'm having coffee and cheesecake for breakfast, but generally speaking, you know, I don't really have breakfast. I normally just have some fresh fruit or some fresh juice. And, you know, I'll eat dinner, you know, whatever I want, again, whether that's cheesecake or, you know, or chocolate cake or whatever. You know, I'll have whatever I want for dinner. But, you know, I'm not eating 3 meals a day. When you eat 3 meals a day, especially if it's cooked food, you know, now if it's just raw fruits and vegetables every day, all day long, that's really not that big of a deal because it's not hard to digest those foods, plus they're fully hydrated foods. But when you're eating cooked food 3 times a day, it's really hard for your body to have any time to sort of reset, for it to clean itself, for it to hydrate properly. So, you know, try giving up, you know, one of your meals, whether it be breakfast or whether it be dinner. Those are the ones that I would recommend because it gives you a longer window of no food. So if you give up breakfast, for example, then at least you're going from the time you stop eating your dinner all the way until lunchtime, you know, which is probably going to give you at least 12 hours. If you're able to skip, you know, breakfast and lunch, then you're able to get more like, you know, 14, 16 hours before you're eating. Or if you skip lunch and dinner and you just eat breakfast, you're creating a much longer window for your body to detox, to hydrate, you know, to reset itself. So those would be the very top tips or tricks that I would recommend for anyone to experiment with. It doesn't cost any money. It doesn't require that you live on some special diet. It still gives you the freedom to, you know, sort of interface with your life the way you want to. And then of course, you know, on certain days, you can have, you know, cheesecake for breakfast if that's what you want to do. So moderation, you know, letting go of the guilt and the shame, you know, love yourself, feel good about yourself, respect yourself, you know, remember how important being healthy is and how much better life is. You have to have that selfish motivation, right? Rather than being like, oh, I can't do this or I have to give this up, focus more on what it is you do want, right? I want this. And so I'm doing this because I want this, not because I can't do this, right? Hydration is super essential. And, you know, some sort of intermittent fasting, you know, give up a meal a day. You know, 3 meals a day is just really, unless you're a pro athlete, you know, burning 6,000 calories a day, you just really do not need 3 meals a day. So some of my tried and proven tips and tricks for health and for thrival. Hope this was valuable and important to you. Steam on and bless.